Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are approaching here in the United States at least Thanksgiving. So
we got our things. We have our decorations.
Decoration for turkeys, and we would like to extend a happy Thanksgiving to our fellow Americans in the coming days. Enjoy a lot of turkey, a lot of great American food. Christy is already preparing herself. We've been working on all this Thanksgiving business. But today, of course, it's an important day because NATO had their meeting, and there is all these warmongers pushing for war. So we would like to discuss the subject of war in the esoteric, religious, and occult traditions, just to have a different take about it. No? I think that's a great opportunity. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show with Leo and Christy. Okay, is November 26th of the year of the Lord 2024. Yes, in the Middle East, Israel, Hezbollah there seems to be maybe something going on with Lebanon. Maybe there will be the start of a peace deal in the coming days and weeks. But remember, until Trump is in the White House, the military-industrial complex is still loose, and we still really don't know what the Hamas wants to do. So, but in regards to Ukraine, we have discussed, of course, the fact that there was this hypersonic launch, a warning given to the Western Illuminati, but we wanted to tell you more about this also inauguration of Donald Trump that coincides with a special alignment, guys. 6 planets will align in a planet parade in the sky. Yes, I will.
Cool.
That's a cool bonus for this inauguration, and I will explain you all about it. In the meantime, here the Yes. Okay. So it's something particular in occult interpretations. A 6-planet alignment or planet parade is often seen as a significant celestial event, signifying a period of major change, heightened by spiritual energy and potential manifestation. So I guess that we have a lot to discuss because they might want to foment a war, but we want to foment peace. So why not? Like I said, this cosmic alignment. Let's go and check exactly the planets that will be aligned for Donald Trump's inauguration, so we can check them out in the skies. It will be visible all across the United States and even in Mexico and Canada. No tariffs for the planet alignment. Yes. Okay, so we have Mars, we have Jupiter, we have Uranus, we have
Betelgeuse is like Beetlejuice. Wow.
Venus, Saturn. Okay, so I repeat, there is a special alignment that is going to take place for Trump's inauguration, and this could mean a few things. A cosmic alignment, it's when you have these planets viewed as a symbolic representation of different aspects of life and consciousness, and when they align, it's a powerful moment of cosmic harmony. And we really like to see that harmony coming back, especially when Joe Biden is setting the house on fire before leaving the White House. I mean, he's doing everything possible and imaginable to trigger a war that they try to push Russia to the extremes, and then at that point, once that kind of war is triggered, it's difficult then to come back. We had this NATO Admiral Rob Bauer, who is even talking about preemptive attacks on Russia, of considering preemptive attacks on Russia. This is quite incredible. I mean, it's unheard of. So let me check out with you what this warmonger, this agent of the New World Order, a European agent of the New World Order, military chairman of NATO, is saying.
Is smarter not only to do that, but also to attack the archer that is in Russia, if Russia attacks us. So you need to have a combination of deep precision strike with which you can take out the weapon systems that are used to attack us. And of course, because we're a defensive alliance, we will have to take the first blow. So Russia will start the conflict, because we are not going to attack Russia out of nothing. Yeah, we will need more air defense. That's one of the lessons from Ukraine. And at the same time, we are going to invest in the deep precision strike.
I mean, are these people insane? I mean,
it's like they want to cause more problems, right?
Definitely. I mean, this is it's an unheard move. Today, as you know, we discussed there is a meeting of NATO that is taking place, though, after the Secretary General visited Donald J. Trump. Hopefully, he put some sense in his head. But it seems that these Europeans are all for war together with Joe Biden. They are hoping for an all-out war with Russia. And Russia is the world's second nuclear power, and they want to do that before Trump enters in office. It is a very dangerous situation, because NATO discussing the possibility of preemptive precision strikes on the Russian territory is really unheard of. So these people, they should actually be arrested. To tell you the truth, these people should all be arrested, because they are jeopardizing the future of millions of people around the world. They are evil, they are Satanist, and they are really reflecting the worst of this Western culture. But let's go back to the alignment. We hope in the alignment. We hope that things instead turn out to be good, that we have a new beginning. Planet Parade can signify, in fact, a time of ending and new beginnings, as the alignment can be seen as a powerful catalyst for personal transformation and major life changes. And in this case, with the kickstart of Trump's presidency, we are manifesting maybe something really significant. So aside from the scientific perspective, the perfect alignment that we will be viewing in the skies, different occult traditions may interpret the meaning of a planetary alignment based on their own astrological systems and beliefs. But at the same time, also, we need to understand what is war. War in the esoteric and occult traditions is viewed as a symbolic representation of a deeper spiritual conflict, signifying a battle between opposing forces within the individual or collective consciousness, often seen as a struggle between light and darkness, like Monsignor Vigano said, repeated in the last few years, the children of light against these forces of darkness that want to destroy everything. And of course, the conscious and subconscious mind, with the potential for transformation and renewal. Of course, the process of conflict and destruction always leads to a let's say a renewal, but a spiritual war in this case needs to be discussed, because because we are in front of a time of great change, and I hope it's for the better. I hope that we will only be seeing maybe some economic wars maybe with Trump's tariffs. But the problem here is that the deep state, the Jesuits, the Sabbatean Frankists are really scared. To the Greek philosopher Heraclitus, wars are the necessary grounds of all coming to be. And this was said by Abram Schreiner of the University of Toronto. War is not a principle, he says, in the world of mortal affairs. It governs all things, both every being in the cosmos and the cosmos itself as a whole. And Schreiner adds also that this is like nature consists of contradictory elements that join together on the subatomic level between light and darkness, cold and heat, attraction and rejection. So there is definitely a lot we can say about war. What do you think about the subject of war, Christy? I know that in the last few months you have been listening often to music from the war times.
Oh.
Yes.
What do I think?
Yeah,
I think we're going to go into World War III. I know that it's not very.
No,
that's
it's not. Yeah, you don't have really a positive outcome.
No, I don't.
Usually, I'm the one who has the more negative outcome.
No, I don't, because I just, no matter what's going on right now, I just see that we're too divided, and God has to bring us back together, and he's got to do it. And so usually it's like this kind of thing that brings, like I asked you today when America was more united, and you said it was after World War II.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, America is not, we're not the United States of America right now. We're separated still, even though, like you say, like the majority voted for Trump. I just see so much separation still, and we're all still Americans. So I'm hoping that a war will help this world to become better. Because we need something to shake us up, because people aren't, they're not serious enough. There's people.
That's true. That's true. But with the weapons that we have today, that means 3/4 of the planet probably dying of nuclear Armageddon. So
I'm all right with dying. I'm really fine with it, because of the way things are now. We can't go on like this with all this hate. On this dimension, there's too much hate, and God is not about hate.
Now, war in the esoteric refers to a metaphorical concept also, and within various mystical and occult traditions, it describes a hidden, ongoing struggle between opposing spiritual forces. So what we are seeing is also reflecting the battle that goes on in those spiritual forces. And
I have a question for you. Like, do you think that on these two sides, like you were saying, the dark is battling the light and all that, and then on we know what we're fighting, but on their side, they don't see themselves like that. But not all of them are so extreme. They can't be all evil. They can't. I mean, I can't imagine that all these people are so bad that they just don't understand. They need clarity, don't you think?
Well, I mean, the weapons to fight this battle and this war are, of course, our spiritual practices, our spiritual power, our knowledge, our awareness. And it seems like that part of society, it's really been brainwashed and it's confused.
But don't we want to help them?
Yeah, we try. I mean, for example,
I would like to be friends with everyone, and I really would. I would. Not with the devil, but with people, that don't understand, that are confused, and maybe they just don't like Donald Trump.
It's not the question of liking Donald.
But we lost a lot of our audience.
Let me talk here. They don't like Christianity. They don't like Thanksgiving. They don't like Christmas. They don't like tradition. They don't like a man and a woman. They don't like anything that is tradition. So it's not a question of Donald. Donald is a manifestation of the anger of millions of people who have been taken, have seen America taken over by these idiots in places like New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco. This is not America. That is a little part of America I want to hijack the rest of America. And they are, of course, in league with the devil, because most of them come out from fancy Jesuit run universities, like the ones like in Georgetown, but also in other parts of the United States. The mentality is that they are the elite because they have gone to a nice college, a nice university, and the rest of the people are simply scumbags. That is really unfortunate, but that is the truth.
It's true. I mean, you're right.
No, I mean, I would like to be able to be more capable of having dialogue with these kind of people. But the conflict is like you said, at times inevitable when there is so much anger. Because this conflict that we see in the visible plane is, first of all, happening on a subtle, spiritual plane, often involving secret societies of individuals with deep esoteric knowledge, who have, like the OTO sided with the Democrats, or the Satanic Temple, or the Temple of Set, or the various Illuminati groups, or even the Skull and Bones in Yale University, many others. I mean, we are filled with secret societies, even the ones that are not so secret, like the simple university college fraternities and sororities, like the one that sustained Kamala Harris. The war is fought through practices that, of course, for the enemy might include ritual magic. For us, it includes prayer. And spiritual disciplines aim at aligning oneself with God. With them, it's about their desires.
What about their, okay, you're talking about like the people that are running the show.
They want the influence on the material world.
What do you think about all of the people that vote Democrat this time? Like, what do you think about them?
They are the product of this constant, I mean, what we have seen in from the end of the 60s and then manifesting in all the colleges and university campuses is been, of course, an occult takeover, because it's been the occult takeover fomented also by the so-called psychedelic revolution, by the intake of certain drugs that can be, of course, a way of becoming more aware, but can also become a way of opening the doors of perception to evil entities that can take over, that can take you over. I mean, the struggle to achieve spiritual balance and harmony often ends up with these people who are part of the New Age, because that's what they're part of, in some kind of fake charade in which everything is fine.
Evil, but I was a Republican during the New Age.
I know,
but then I realized that it wasn't very good. So okay, you're right. I'm trying.
No.
You're right.
No, but I mean,
you're right. I'm trying to find another side that I can argue, but everything you said is true. So.
I'm trying to just discuss.
I'm trying to understand the other half of America and what's going to happen, and I want them to be better, and I want them to find God. And
now there is a guy.
So I don't know.
There is a guy who has a PhD in philosophy and Kabbalah, who is global thinker, Michael Lightman. He's dedicated to generating what he thinks is a transformational shift in society through a new kind of education. And I'm sure that we need new kinds of education when we see our children in these schools completely brainwashed by the elite. That's why the elimination announced by Trump of the Department of Education, I mean, it's something, or at least a real reform that can detach these people from all this evil. Now, the current war, like all wars, is a call for humanity to complement our wickedness with kindness. So we cannot avoid doing what we need to do on the battlefield, but if we think that winning a battle gives us peace, we will soon find ourselves embroidered with more war, say Michael Lightman. And Michael Lightman also says on the human level, there is two opposites that are expressed as egoism with all its negative expression and altruism with all its positive expression. The problem is that there is very little of the later, very little altruism and hardly any. And most people are egoist. They think only about their own comfort zone. And what do we see with all these leftists when they go, for example, they lose it, like that guy you were telling me this morning, you know?
Meathead?
Yeah.
Meathead from All in the Family.
Yeah.
He had to check into a facility because he went on Blue Sky, and because he escaped X and went on Blue Sky, and he was just having some rants on Blue Sky, and apparently Blue Sky is overrun by MAGA, and so he was being, he said, trolled on there, and then he said that he needs a break.
He needs a break.
He needs peace and calm, and he needs some time away from the hatred and the fascism. So.
Now, the war that is currently raging in Ukraine is not just a local dispute, but a clash of spiritual significance. What we are seeing here with these really evil people, which I have exposed all along in my books, volume 7, volume 6, from volume 1 onwards, in all my books, I have explained a little bit about these people. And of course, so we have the important role of the British Crown, the fact that now we see Prince William, who is training in the battlefield almost. He's training, he's not yet in the battlefield, but he's training because he wants to be prepared in combat uniform. He went and joined the live firing training with the Welsh Guards. He had a beard and he was kind of a bit rough and ready to fight. We can show here for our viewers what I'm talking about, because let's not forget, in all the discussions which I had in my books, especially in volume 8, I've outlined his role as possible Antichrist, no? And so the fact that he's there ready for war, the British air in combat uniform, this is very important. This is, I think, a very important moment because they are really now discussing France, Germany, sending in troops. They are completely insane. They're completely insane. With that admiral we just saw. The fact that they can think, that they can even think there is a possibility.
They don't want peace at all.
They don't want the peace at all. I know. And so this is...
what about the Italians? What do they want?
No, the Italians, of course, they are a little bit... when it comes to war, they are big chickens. After the Second World War, they became the biggest chickens. So when war comes near to them, they tend to avoid it. Now, I think that... there is an old Cherokee tale about an elderly warrior who told his grandson about the battle within us. And he said that within each of us, there is a struggle between two wolves. It's a little bit like the lesser jihad and the bigger jihad in the Quran, no? Like what I described here in volume 10 of my Confessions. Nowadays, it seems like the jihad that that is more prevalent is the one that basically is fought in the physical realm and not within oneself. And this Cherokee tale, the grandson basically he said about there is this tale that is said about this two realities and which of them wins, which is asked the young Cherokee And the grandfather replies, the one you feed. So it depends really from how much you want to feed into this hate and into the possibility that we are reaching inevitably World War III. I mean, it seems like even the people who have elected Donald J. Trump, who have pushed for this great change that Trump is about to bring around, still they are entrenched in it's inevitable. Even you said.
I just said it. Oh my God. I don't want to be like that.
I think we need to have a different perspective. I think we need to.
Well, I don't want to make my thoughts, a reality, so I will not think about that. I definitely don't want that for us.
See,
nobody wants war. That kind of war, nobody wants it.
Now, the invisible battlefield. We live in a world made by an invisible being, and this world is thick with invisible beings. They are all around us in a sense, but not immediately obvious to many, since the visible realm is so much more imposing. In 2 Kings 6, 15, 17, the prophet Elisha attended and saw something in the visible realm that overwhelmed him. The Syrian army encircling their city with horses and chariots. Alas, my master, he said, what should we do? Elisha, though, was not shaken. He saw a deeper reality in the unseen realm. And so what he says at that point, he says, do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Elisha then prayed and said, O Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. So Elisha saw something his servants did not see. The enemies of God surrounding the city were themselves surrounded by a massive invisible force arrayed behind the scenes for Elisha's protection. So NATO, those evil stooges, agents of the New World Order, the worst scum of the New World Order, might be ready to create chaos and destruction, but remember that we are surrounded also by an invisible army of God that is ready to intervene. So I think that has to be considered. And there is, of course, that passage of which is always very, very known, talking about the armor of God, because that is how you can fight the devil. So Ephesians 6, 11, 13, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So even the battle that was carried down from the heavenly realms once the fallen angels who were kicked out of the heavens and then reverse on this plane of existence. And we discussed in the past also what happened there with the fallen angels getting together with the daughters of man, then mixing together and everything. But in any case, we are witnessing a war at various levels. So today, that's really what I wanted to discuss. I mean, we have, like I said, a special 6 planet alignment that constitutes maybe the beginning or the end of something. And we saw, how war in the esoteric can be present and can become then manifest in the visible plane. We saw it during the rise of the Nazi party. That was a moment of great impact, just like also the Russian Revolution that was impacted by spiritual and esoteric groups behind the rise of Stalin that came to power. And then we need to understand what are the spiritual problems that we are facing. War is a spiritual problem. It is a problem that is born in the spirit. And when we talk about the nuclear, using nuclear force, nuclear deterrent, nuclear bombs, this is quite interesting, this element, because you see, nuclear was something that was actually born within the whole fascination with being able to use nuclear or atomic energy in favor of humanity. Was first proposed by people like Alice Bailey. Before that, Madame Blavatsky talked about the nuclear when nuclear didn't even exist yet in the way we know it. So it's a bit. We need to understand in the context of theosophy that is part of the problem here, because we said in the past theosophy gave the possibility for the manifestation of modern Satanism. The development of modern Satanism passes through theosophy and the various branches. In the context of theosophy, nuclear atomic refers to the idea that the fundamental building blocks of matter, which they call anu, are not just physical particles, but also have a spiritual or energetic component and can be perceived through clairvoyance, allowing theosophists to describe the structure of atoms in detail even before they were really analyzed in detail. In fact, this brought to a book called Occult Chemistry by Annie Besant, who Annie Besant, of course, the successor of Madame Blavatsky, and C.W. Leadbeater, pedophile, who wrote, they wrote a book called Occult Chemistry, where they claim to use clairvoyance to visualize and describe the structure of atoms, including the arrangement of these nanoparticles. So beyond the physical science, the theosophists believed that their inner sight allowed them to see beyond the limitation of physical instruments, gaining insights into the subtle energetic aspects of the atom. Now, they were not, I mean, due to the reliance or non-scientific, I mean, they were not scientific methods, so they were not so, there is not such credibility that can be given to these pseudo-scientific methods. But there is still maybe not a valid contribution to the atomic theory as we see it scientifically, but let's not forget the theosophy started to discuss this because amongst their own, they had people like William Crookes who invented what became the TB, the cathodic thing. So they had people in science who started to discuss these things. So when in theosophy, Madame Blavatsky started the term life atoms, who regarded these atoms as centers of life that undergo their own process of transmigration, also life after life and all that. I mean, and also the concept that of the permanent atoms that came later on with Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbeater. But not only that, then there was literally another Alice Bailey who succeeded, who was after these people their heir. And Alice Bailey had a very important role in the manifestation of the United Nations as we know them. I have discussed, as you know, this in volume 9 of my Confessions, very important, the role of the Theosophical Society in the development of not only modern Satanism, but also the United Nations as we know them. Yeah. And it goes also through Canada time, another country that is always a little bit, okay. Now, let's go to see what Alice Bailey was saying about on atomic energy and of the use of nuclear. Alice Bailey had her own demon or her own invisible master decay. You know, she had that invisible master, that secret chief she used to ask information from, that appeared to have a very positive view on the possibilities of humanity using atomic energy for good. And so there was in a treatise on cosmic fire on page 907 that was published in 1925, this visual cool, this master decay, this secret chief predicted the discovery of atomic energy, and then after that the first atomic bomb went off, he stated that this was a source of power that will eventually liberate humanity.
Oh, sure.
So I mean, they had a very positive take on these things. You can find this, and then on the physical plane, the great scientific discovery, and then from these writings, it's obvious that the hierarchy, when they talk about hierarchy, they talk about the ascended masters, you know, all that new age kind of
ascended masters.
Was hopeful that humankind will perfect atomic technology, yet despite this, it is interesting and many who see themselves as enlightened are totally against this, the safest and most environmentally friendly source of energy in the world. Now, this is for years we saw, especially then with Fukushima, we had the definitive confirmation that is definitely not the safest kind of energy in the world, and we had accidents in the past that have demonstrated the danger. But now that artificial intelligence, cyber Satan needs more and more energy, and they want to re-incentivize the use of nuclear energy, of that kind of energy, which we thought could be avoided because, like I said, it's dangerous. I mean, having, for example, a nuclear plant in a place like California is suicidal, because here you have earthquakes that could wreck the whole place, and of course you can end up like Fukushima. But the same can be said in many other places in the world, not only in the United States. So the mention of atomic energy and the way that they saw this atomic energy as the solution of all their problems, it's definitely makes us understand how the Illuminati are always confused. Let me, Christy, read this one here. He will find here.
He will find the secret of atomic energy latent in the mineral kingdom and will bend that inconceivable power and force to the solution of the problems of existence. Only when atomic energy is better understood in the nature of fourth ether, somewhat comprehended, shall we see that control of the air which lies inevitably ahead.
These are, so you see, atomic energy, fire by friction, free planes of the free worlds, logoid dense vehicle. Then is the etheric web of the planet sufficiently stable and balanced so that it can adequately respond to the new and potent forces which could and will pour through its objective expression. I will remind you that the release of atomic energy has had far more potent effect in the etheric web than in the dense physical vehicle of the planet. But I mean, the problem is that we saw, I repeat, the disaster. People don't really talk about it anymore, but Fukushima is still a problem. I mean, millions tons of water, contaminated radioactive water, pour into the sea. And then we never heard anything else about they released they released all this water at one point, and then everybody
well, they slowly get poisoned. I hope not.
So, and this is sad. It's sad that, I mean, but the indication is that, of course, they are very much pushing for embracing the nuclear atomic ideal, if you want to call it that way. And aside from that, going back to understanding the spiritual warfare, because it needs to be understood, we need to begin acknowledging that we are, first of all, in a war, and many people don't want to acknowledge that in their day-to-day life. They prefer to ignore the fact that there is an ongoing spiritual war every day.
I feel it. I feel it all the time.
Battles make up smaller components of a bigger picture. By definition, battles involve combat between two people, between factions, between armies, and they consist of any type of extended contacts or controversy, says the Webster Merriam Dictionary. As Christians, we are in a spiritual battle of some sort on a daily basis. That's but not only as Christians, as Muslims, as Jews, as people who believe in God. You are in a warfare. You are in a warfare, but this warfare can, like we said earlier, can be a warfare you deal with yourself, or is a warfare that you bring in the outside world. And in that case, then the result can be what we are seeing with Ukraine. Ukraine is unfortunate. It is the place where, when you have a NATO admiral talking about preparing for a wartime scenario. I mean, preparing for the logic of defense, they say. We need to be prepared for the logic of defense. We need to be prepared.
That's just so silly. I mean, we can have peace.
We can have, of course, we can have peace, but we can't have peace if before the arrival of Donald J. Trump they detonate a nuclear weapon, because that will definitely bring, and that's what they want. That's what they want. So it is a very worrying situation. But I personally think that with the alignment that we will see on Trump's inauguration, and following that alignment, the change will be very strong, and all these
positive.
Positive.
I
think I hope for a good, because these dogs of war need people like this guy here. This NATO official that prepare for a war. These people need to go and fight a war if they want themselves. I mean, they're discussing in Europe the fact that France, England can go to a war without America against Russia. Welcome. You can do it. Destroy yourself. Do it on the other side of the ocean, and make, once again, like we want to make America. Make America great again, and make Europe Second World War again. Make another. No, but these people are warmongers. They are warmongers. When you see people sitting in the European,
well, I'm going to pray for the people that I love, and the people that
politically, if you go to Brussels, if you go to,
all right, politically it's a different
politically
story.
In Europe, they are brainwashed.
They're people there
brainwashed. No, they're completely brainwashed.
Just pray, guys.
They're
completely, pray really hard.
So it's a bit difficult when you have this kind of
I guess I would have left if I was in a country like that. Like,
well, we had to leave Europe. Humans are social beings, so we live in a society in which we interact with each other. When this society, and I explain this in my book, especially in volume 9, I explain how Europe has made certain wrongful choices, but also in relation to Ukraine. Ukraine is what I have described also here. The rise of the Fourth Reich of Europe is connected to It's sad. I mean, it is definitely sad. I'm going to cite something from volume 7 of my confession. Or you want to cite it? You can cite it here. Is this paragraph here?
Okay. The elite is deranged and perverted. That's obvious. And growing number of people are finally realizing this. That's why they need to implement the Great Reset as soon as possible, to silence all of us once and for all. That's the main reason for this sudden oppressive change. However, the populist masses are rising in Europe, the United States, and even in South America, while in Asia, compliance, unfortunately, is the norm, and in Africa, corruption rules all parts of society. They call us the losers who don't want to accept globalization and technological advancement, who have turned to populism and populist political parties in despair. But that's not always the case. Most of us are simply feeling that something is truly wrong with what is unfolding in our new reality, and politics and corrupt politicians are not going to be able to save us from this. We need to be honest with ourselves about it.
I think this is very important because you see, Europe in reality, people want to rebel. The masses, they don't have weapons. They have taken all their weapons after the Second World War. Every single European country has been castrated of their dignity. They don't have any weapons. The only weapons are in the hands of the criminals or of the police forces or the army. So the globalists have an easy way of oppressing Europeans. And then they still make them feel like politics can change their life when politics is a complete joke. Because that's what it is. So it's sad, but that's
politics and crime. It's the same thing.
Well, I mean, politics.
I think Al Capone said that.
There is no way for us to stop the hypersonic missiles of Russia. So to go against Russia is simply suicidal.
Eric Prince. Eric, thanks very much for being here. Your reaction to this week and these long-range missiles sparking Russia's response?
There's no good outcome to this war. It needs to de-escalate and be done. There's no chance that Ukraine is going to retake its land, the Donetsk, the Luhansk, the areas in the east, certainly not the Crimea. It's been a fool's errand for the last year and a half. And all we're doing is wiping out the next generations of Ukrainian men and Russian men, for that matter. Imagine if there was this kind of border clash with Mexico, and there were Russian-provided weapons being fired inside the United States. There's no way we would tolerate that. This needs to be wound down soon, and I really hope President Trump can get on it literally from day one. I wish they could do pre-meetings, but even the way the Democrats pulled the whole Russiagate nonsense in 2016, I'm sure the Trump administration is hesitant to have that level of contact, but they need to, because clearly Biden, not ready to run for president again, not mentally up to the job, and it's clearly Kamala Harris is not either up to the job. This needs to be brought to an end by adults. Enough.
So why was Biden doing what he did, authorizing these long-range missiles while he's almost out the door?
To me, it's like a drowning man grabbing at any rope that might be available to him, thinking that it might somehow push the Russians to play nicer or something. There is really no practical reason. The fact is, the Russians fired a ballistic missile that carried 9 warheads going Mach 9 that there was no means to shoot down. And even with non-nuclear, the kinetic force is enormous. And those could have just as easily, it was a sign, it was a reminder by the Russians, we can smack you anywhere with nukes, and maybe that's what's coming next. So this is not a game that needs to be played any longer. Wow. It is grossly irresponsible.
Eric, I want to get more on that.
I didn't think I could ever agree with Eric Prince from Blackwater, because I'm not really a sympathizer of this mercenary. But I must say that he has outlined the whole thing perfectly well. I mean, definitely this was a warning, and it's a warning that NATO should have taken very seriously instead than replying that they want to do preemptive strikes against Russia. I mean, that's suicidal. And it's suicidal, and it brings us back also to the fact that recently Russia is employing Yemeniti Houthis, and I've talked about the connections. NATO has used for decades the Islamic Brotherhood and all the various Salafist derivatives, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and blah, 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 and of course Hamas. But they also have now, NATO has kind of lost a little bit they used to be controlling all the factions of Islam, both the Shia and the Sunni. Now the Shia has allied with Russia, and so the Yemeniti, the Houthis, are going to go and fight in Ukraine. And this is like, you will now find Islamic fighters, and they are fierce fighters, as we know, together with the North Korean fighters fighting against Ukrainians.
Oh my God.
But guys, if in Europe you don't have the balls to rise to your own leaders, then France, England can go and fight these people on their own. The King of England, the future King of England, Prince William, can head them, and they can all have a great war game without us. We can leave them in the part of the pond killing each other. I mean, with Trump, America first. We want to get out of any kind of war because we have to reestablish the rule of law in our cities here in America. We need to stop this mass immigration made of thugs from Venezuelan gangs and whatnot. The invasion, of course, will be stopped by my friend Tom Homan. And the fentanyl. Fentanyl is a big problem. So the fact that Trump has threatened tariffs to Canada and Mexico. Now, Trudeau immediately called, after a couple of hours, Trump all scared. Instead, that communist woman, president of Mexico, we will impose our own. Basically, she will lead Mexico to economic suicide, as the pesos is already going down since April. So, guys, here we're talking about, yes, we might spend more for all are made in China. But if these people are bringing to the country, through the cartels, fentanyl, killing basically our future, well, it doesn't matter if we have to spend a little bit more for some products, because here is the future of our children, the future of our youth, who is dying because the cartels in Mexico have killed more people than all the Islamic terrorists put together. This has to be very clear. The deaths, and especially the deaths of fentanyl in the last few years, it's unheard of. And parts, I mean, we see all these cities here in California, especially, that have become zombie land between all the various drugs that are circulating. And they're circulating because of these scumbags. So we don't need to fear what's coming next, because this war, like I explained, is a war that is not only a physical war, but it's also a spiritual war. It's a conflict that is made, I mean, many esoteric traditions depict the war as a clash between opposing forces, and it is a clash between opposing forces. That's why the Illuminati know that, because they believe in the esoteric. They believe in the occult. So the forces of light, divine, positive, against the forces of darkness, demonic, negative.
And then there's people that got pulled up into it. All these people.
Yes.
They need to wake up.
You know, yeah, of course. Then we can also
It was systematic destruction, starting the moment they were born, and they had to listen to reality TV.
Well, especially if you were born after,
Yeah.
if you were born from the 90s onwards, you definitely had some problems because this. No, you're right. I mean, that's terrible. Now, everybody knows Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake, she attempted various, first as governor, then she ran for Senate, I think. She didn't manage. It's a little bit rigged, the system there in Arizona. So, but what happened in the last 24 hours to her daughter is unheard of.
What happened?
A transgender, call it woman, call it whatever you want, attacked Carrie Lake's daughter and then fled the scene. And then when the police arrested her, said, I don't fucking remember.
That's terrible.
I want to show you the scene. The transgender attacker of Carrie Lake's daughter that flees the scene. So here you see, you're going to see basically this coward, see, fleeing the scene. After fortunately, she didn't manage to hurt. I mean, it is, of course, uncalled for, and it was politically motivated because the attacker said that it was regarding Trump. She was seen fleeing the scene, you see, in a red shirt and black pants after approaching the daughter of Carrie Lake and pouring a drink on her because this transgender saw a Trump stand in her. And as a trans woman, and I'm quoting her, she said, I did not feel comfortable with it, seeing that everywhere really hurt me. They want to hurt me. I mean,
it's true. They really do attack us. It's true. I mean, it happens to me too.
Sorry, but not true. You're talking about the transgender felt uncomfortable.
No, but I'm saying that that side comes after us.
But they feel uncomfortable, and then they attack.
I don't even hear that part. Yes. I know that we do get attacked.
They were talking. They were talking about Trump and got this transgender upset. And then they attacked Carrie Lake's daughter. And this, I think, is just, it is one of the many things that can happen these days, but it makes you understand how these people are. There is, of course, a spiritual war. There is a spiritual war. And unfortunately, the spiritual war has also seen at times some physical attacks on Donald J. Trump, who had 2 physical attempted assassinations to his life. He suffered and
he got hurt.
And he got hurt, at least in the first time. And now, for all those people who want to know more about the past, present, and the future of mind control, and also the attempted assassination of Donald J. Trump, the real story behind it, you can, of course, check out Confessions of an Illuminati, Volume 11. But the second attempted assassination was from that guy brainwashed by NATO, who went and recruited soldiers in Ukraine for Ukraine. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the connection with this Ukrainian war. And this guy, in this letter that was just made known by this, they wrote,
"You hope to save America from a dictator."
Yeah, better will be Trump assassin outlines his motivation, hope to save America from a dictator. You understand? This scumbag who wanted to save America, him, and also Thomas Crooks, the guy who died on the 13th of July, they could have, of course, changed the history of America. And today we could have been in a really dark place. But fortunately, like I said earlier, the invisible forces, Christy, are all around us. And they are ready to protect also Trump. Now, a lot of people I know are always so entrenched in conspiracy reality, not only in conspiracy theory, that they don't even think that Trump can save us in any way, shape, or form, because they simply think everything that surrounds us is evil. Well, that is almost like a Gnostic take on things.
Yeah.
That is a Gnostic take on things. That is not a Christian take on things. That is not a traditional Jewish take on things. That's simply a Gnostic take on things. Everything is evil. And so, there is no genuine leader that can save us. And I'm completely against that kind of vision of things. I'm absolutely against the vision of things. Because I think that
absolutely.
No?
Then everything's not evil.
No.
Because God is in everything. So.
And before we leave you, let's not forget what Tulsi Gabbard said on biolabs that have been covered up and are in Ukraine, and what could happen if these biolabs, if something happened to these biolabs that, of course, have been covered up during the Biden-Harris administration. And she will become the director of national intelligence soon, hopefully.
The undeniable facts. There are 25 to 30 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine. According to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens. Ukraine is in an active war zone with widespread bombing, artillery, and shelling. And
then on top of that, you have also the Zaporizhia nuclear plant. I mean, you have all these dangerous things that could happen at any time.
And they're always worried about the planet and green energy and saving the planet. And don't they know what a nuke can do?
Yeah, I mean, most of the climate change up until now in human history has happened because of volcanoes. It has happened because of natural events. Even the disappearance of the dinosaurs happened because of an asteroid. It didn't happen because there was human-induced climate change, because humans were not even around yet. Yeah. But I mean, in general, their idea to save the planet by buying an electric car is the most demented idea ever, because to produce that electric car, you basically damage what is left of this planet. And on top of that, you make it impossible for an ordinary folk to just buy and purchase a car. Here, in theory, in 10 years from now, in California, for example, you are not able to purchase anymore a gasoline car. I mean, these people are insane.
Governor.
I need to be governor. Thank you so much for following us today. I hope you understood that this war in the esoteric, religious, and occult realms.
I would be very good first lady governor of California.
Absolutely.
I can make Hollywood great again.
They blame the end of Hollywood on the AI, and I have discussed this on Volume 8. But the end of Hollywood has to be blamed mainly on the actors who make Hollywood, because with all their BS, with all their hate against Trump and Trumpians and everything, I mean, in the end, they have demonstrated that they are so detached from reality, the elite. Well, now they are leaving us. Thank God they're going to Europe. They can go to Europe, and then maybe Putin can nuke them all. And that's it. We will not be crying for them. Make America great again, and make Europe nuclear again. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was never nuclear or atomic.
I need to thank the sponsor.
Okay, let's thank the sponsor, because
thank you guys. Thank you so much. Since we did the show on Saturday, we sold so many books, and that makes us really happy.
Book, if you want to eat the best Italian food, and of course it costs a little bit more because there is wonderful pictures that Christy made, the color pictures, and there is the recipes, easy way to really, because when you see, and this is really something that I hope RFK Jr. will sort out. When you see all the addictives, all the how you say the colorants,
preservatives,
the addictives and the colors, the artificial chemical, the GMO, all this BS. You understand that today, if you want to really have a healthy meal, you have to eat at home. But of course, you will still want to have the same kind of fanciness that you have in a restaurant. Well, in that case, the Zagami Family Cookbook comes in your aid and in your help. And you can purchase it right now. You can find it on Amazon. Christy Zagami.
Okay, shh.
What?
I need to say the sponsors. Marco Cirillo and Tony, thank you very much.
Yes.
And Bruce Kodish and Daniel Estes and everybody that bought the book. Thank you very much.
If you continue to support us, we will be able to bring you 2 shows a week.
Just keep buying that book, guys.
Or please donate. That is an important thing also that we can do. I want to show the GoFundMe here on the screen for those people who are interested in helping us. We have a GoFundMe. We have also a Cash App handle that you can find at leozagami.com. I think that if each of you gave even a few dollars, we will be able to be here 2 times a week, no problem. And of course, Leo Zagami's books, Volume 9, also great book, except from Volume 10, Volume 11, all of them. And of course, the Confessions of an Illuminati Princess, if you want to know a bit more of...
It's like Gossip Girl.
Whatever. Guys, is buy her books and don't buy Michelle Obama's book.
What do we have here? My new workbook, Overcoming, is out. It's going to be on shelves. This is the first time I've held it myself. This is a timely gift or purchase for yourself because...
Don't buy it. They already have a lot of money.
I was getting my turkey.
Yeah, do your turkey.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll see you on
Don't buy Michelle.
This is a workbook that takes you through some techniques and exercises based on some of
to become a woman.
The insights I shared with you all in the light that we carry. So I encourage you, particularly during this time, during the holiday season, during a time where we feel a little out of sorts, a little anxious, I urge you to pick this book up and just walk through some of the exercises and also do it in some groups. I mean, I know there are a lot of great book groups out there, and you guys might find that using some of these exercises.
No. It's by Zagami's book. Not Michelle Obama. She has already enough money.
Here comes the devil. Oh, here comes the devil. Big Mike. Oh, here comes the devil.
Here comes the devil.
And tips as a form of conversation. So I hope you find this useful. Take care. Talk soon.
Devil says, shh. Look out for the devil. Look out for the devil. Look out for the devil. Oh, the devil with the devil says I. You're so afraid of old man Satan. Now why don't you stop your hesitating? You're gonna be a long time dead, so the devil with the devil says I. You're always giving me the dickens, telling me that life's no easy pickings. But just as long as I have fun, why the devil with the devil says I. You can have your social teas and bingo for your fun, but the things I like to do, you stop me one by one. Now even if you make me stronger, that ain't gonna make me live no longer. So even if I go to shh, the devil with the devil says I. Look out for the devil, look out for the devil. Oh, the devil with the devil says I.
America!